The United Progressive Party has joined forces with the BPM. Well, we're accustomed to that union, yeah? The one that we're not accustomed to is the True Labour Party also joining forces with this particular group. And I think the movement is a part of it as well, along with the National PTA. So all of them have joined forces to address particular concerns that they have in Antigua and Barbuda. And online with me now, I do have the chairman of the True Labour Party, Mr. Veer Bird the third. Morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Carl. How are you doing?
I'm great. So let me start, even before I get to Whistle Stop. Why did True Labour join up with the Faithful Nationals, as you have dubbed yourselves?
Well, to be honest, we saw that the state of this country was just constantly, it wasn't getting any better. And after the polls of last year's election, the results, I believe that everybody came to the realization that we needed to come together to fight pure evil.
And how has the relationship been thus far between the True Labour Party and the other opposition forces? How has that been working out?
Well, there's nothing to talk about. There's no issue. There's no friction at all. I mean, we have been speaking with the UPP since after the 2014 election. It's not something that just happened in the last 2, 3, 4 months for the True Labour Party. We've always been speaking with the UPP after 2014, the June 12th election. Yeah, so
right.
It's almost 4 or 5 years now we've been talking with them and working with them. I mean, I think I appeared on another radio station with one of the UPP candidates at the time, Wilma Daniel. We appeared together, or we spoke about it that we were going to work on some common grounds together.
Right.
So this is not something new. It's just the amount of the coalition has grown since then. I mean, the UPP has always been aligned with the BPM. I guess that's the first one, and then we have been speaking to them and working with them over the years, and we just really agreed with them that it has to be something that comes naturally. You have to be able to trust one another. You can't just jump in there 4 years ago, we get bang off at the last election, so let's just jump into get together and win an election, because you may win an election and then you still have the fighting inside that doesn't get anything done for the people. So it was never an option just to form a group or a coalition or to work with them to get rid of the government, and then you have chaos after that. So as long as it's natural, we have no problem. Everybody seems to be working together. There's no friction. And we believe we have been very effective and efficient, as you can see from our protest.
Yeah, and I want to, and we're going to get to that shortly, but I want to go back and come forward. Back in the day, the members of the ACLM would have formed with the PLM and other parties to form this conglomerate now called the UPP. Now, Are we seeing similar seeds with yourself and the other parties coming together in this way?
I am not leaving the True Labour Party. This is it for me. I am happy right where I am. But if you're talking about the coalition, that's always open.
Right.
That's what we have been speaking to them for the last nearly 5 years now. So that is where I stand. I don't know about the other groups. I can't speak for anybody else. BPM is BPM. I don't think they are going to dissolve the organization and join the UPP. Similarly with us, we are not going to dissolve. The True Labour Party is here to stay, period.
Okay. So you'll have us, because the BPM, as you rightly said, that party over in Barbuda has never, even though they have had representatives and they've had that coalition with the UPP, even had members when the UPP was in power, had members in the cabinet from BPM.
Very successful third party.
Right. Right. Okay. So it's a similar setup.
Yeah. Well, for the time being, I mean, we haven't spoken about anything running or anything like that. We're just working together. We're just coordinating with them and trying to be a more efficient and effective opposition. And it has been proven successful so far.
And thank you so much for staying with us. You're listening to The Morning Cup here on 97.1 FM. Online with me, I do have the chairman of the Antigua Barbuda True Labour Party, Mr. Veer Bird III. Veer, let's talk about the whistle stop yesterday. What was the genesis behind having a whistle stop yesterday starting at the stadium?
Well, we had a whole list of protest actions planned for the month of March. And that was it for this weekend. I mean, we have done at least 3 tickets so far. We've had a public rally, and now this is the whistle stop. I believe this Thursday, we're having a protest at the Parliament, and then in the evening at 7:30, we are starting a public rally. So there's almost something every week from here on out until this government falls. That's basically what we're telling the public. We have enough ammunition, got enough groups so we can keep it rolling. It's not a matter of just UPP one fighting, and getting licks. So everybody gets to share licks. But more importantly, we are going to share some serious blows. We have enough speakers. We have enough financing. We have enough ideas and proposals to put forward to the Antigua people for them to show the people what it could be in Antigua and Barbuda to make this place better for all of us. Not for the rich, not for those who are entitled, but for the common man in this country.
Let's speak specifically about global ports. Some of the points that have been going back and forth. The government says that it needed to have done this deal because it wasn't making any money from the arrangement presently. The Antigua Peer Group, who currently manages the port, they were running at a loss basically, and they needed financing not only to help better manage the port, but also improve the structures down at the Heritage Key and Redcliffe Key areas. What are the key points? Having heard all of the different arguments put forward, now forming maybe a different opinion, what is your stance? What are the key points concerning global ports, in your opinion?
Well, from what they're saying, they don't have any money. When has the government of Antigua and Barbuda ever said they have a lot of money sitting down in the treasury? They've always said they never have any money. So I don't know what has changed. I mean, last year we were told on the 6th of November they're going to free us from our colonial vestiges of our colonial past and have our own court of appeal. But even the magistrates court now, they're not even funded properly because they're closing at 11 o'clock. When you go up to All Saints, what is supposedly All Saints Magistrates Court, you don't even have a court up there. The magistrate begs lodging in the All Saints police station. If you're saying you're going to the All Saints Magistrates Court, there's no permanent staff up there. There are no clerks up there, filing clerks or receptionists or anybody up there. It is just a room that they beg lodging. The court system is underfunded. But they were telling us last year to go and vote for the CCJ, even though they couldn't afford it. My issue is basically, if you couldn't afford the CCJ, you were telling us last year, 6 months ago, that we need to vote for the CCJ. How come now you're saying you don't have any money, so therefore you have to give out your port and make somebody else manage it because you don't have any finances? At one side of the mouth, this government is saying, vote for the CCJ to free yourself, because the people of Antigua should be able to manage their own final courts of appeal. But at the same time, they're telling you that they're actually selling out this country by going to give away our ports for another 40 years. Then we're going to start a University of the West Indies, which they couldn't afford because they now say that they're going to have to raise taxes to afford the university. But the problem is they're going to go through all that effort to get a University of the West Indies in Antigua, the fourth landed campus as they're lauding it, as they're touting it. But Carl, the problem is those children who are going to that university in September of this year are in their 20s. In another 40 years, the length of that lease or arrangement with Global Ports, they will be pensioners. So that is a generation of educated, highly educated people at the fourth landed University of the West Indies that will not have the option to manage their own country's port of entry. The largest industry. That is the sad reality. That is the great minds that have come up with this bit of stupidness. Go and have a good school so you get a nice University of the West Indies certificate at the end of the day, but then you're going to have to look around and maybe go to another country to assist them in managing their port. Somebody is not being honest with the Antiguan and Barbudan people because you are educating your children to be colonial, to be slaves of a colonial system again. Whether it is not the Europeans or so much the British now, it's going to be Global Ports for another 40 years. And we are saying, no, the faithful nationals, we don't stand for that sort of nonsense.
Your granddad, and of course the father of the nation, Sir V.C. Byrd, he has legacy in terms of finding funding for Antigua and Barbuda. He would have, of course, we all know about the monies for syndicate lands. Right, your uncle, Sir Lester, also too has legacy. The Heritage Key. right, is one of his greatest legacy plants. This administration is saying that this global ports arrangement will be, of sorts, their legacy. What do you say to that?
Well, that legacy is what is going to bury them, right? They will be underneath that legacy. That is what is going to bury this GPH nonsense. Yes, my grandfather back in the day in '67 was able to, on a handshake of Moody Stewart, get a loan from Royal Bank in Canada. But those are people, politicians of a different generations, which had the people at heart. And the people could actually see their finances. Because I don't know if you remember, you probably weren't born in '67, neither was I. But I do remember to attain associated statehood that there were preconditions that the government of Antigua and Barbuda to exercise internal rule of the country. You had to balance your budget, the state's budget, 2, 3, 4 years in succession. So at the time in '67 when he went to get the loan, the Royal Bank of Canada had no problem in giving them a loan because our finances were well managed. That is the difference between 1967 and 2018. Our finances are not well managed. We don't even know where some of the money goes, especially with the CIP program. So nobody will entertain Antigua and Barbuda with them sort of large millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, because it's high risk. We don't have a good reputation of paying our debt.
Yeah.
So that is really the problem. That is what they're not telling the people of Antigua and Barbuda. And they like to say that they're following the legacies of my grandfather. Not one of them in that cabinet could even touch my grandfather's legacy or even come close. They may try, or usually at election times they will tote him up and talk his name and VC Bird. But that is just to get elected. They're not following in his footsteps. And that is part of the reason why I am not with those people. I am part of the True Labour Party. And this is where I remain until I die.
And well, one of the and the reason I bring it up too is because on those agreements, VC had his detractors, Lester had his detractors as well, and now, of course, the detractors for the global ports deal. So what the argument is that those agreements worked out. So why can't this one?
No, but that is completely different because we were managing our own ports. They got the money, they paid back the money, and we governed our own ports. The people of Antigua and Barbuda, they say that is our product, our tourism, our main industry. The picky-headed, the black people in them were managing their own business. Now you're telling me we don't have any money, so we have to give it to somebody to manage it for 40 years? Isn't that the same idea this government was saying back on the 6th of November, that we need to get away and manage our own courts? So how come we can go and manage our own final court of appeal, but we're not able to manage our own port? The hypocrisy is what I can't stand with these people. And more so, when you deal with the Antigua Barbuda Labour Party, the first casualty is the truth. The disrespect that they showed last week to Nathan Dundas, this guy, Syed Green or whatever, and Max Durst, they were telling us that the Faithful Natural had a protest on the 28th of February, and a man had a blowhorn or bullhorn on the first flight of steps down at Heritage Key. And when the captain saw that in the boat, he just said, "Hey, I stopped it, back up, let me get out of here." They can't even tell the people of Antigua and Barbuda that just this weekend in Paris, the capital of France, the most visited tourist destination in Europe, they had protests in Paris. 200 people were arrested. Police officers were injured. Tear gas was thrown. Pepper spray was sprayed into people's faces. But in Antigua and Barbuda, we are not supposed to have a lawful picket. That is the state of the Antigua Labour Party. When Max Hurst's own father was picketing on Thames Street in 1955 with the O'Neill drugstore case, and he should know better. But these people, they're peons. They're peons to foolishness. And that is what this GPH is all about. It is taking away from the Antiguan people their birthright to manage their country. And that is what Associated Statehood was about in '67. That is what independence was about in '81. And I don't know where we went wrong after that. But the genesis of it is after Papa Bird left office and he passed. It's 20 years ago now. This country has been on a downward spiral ever since, because people are not interested in their country. They're interested in having money, and having all the material wealth in this world, and that is the end of it. Better me than you, and everybody else can go to hell. It is wrong. That is where we come in the True Labour Party. Whatever happened, one man party, no man party, we are staying right here because Antigua and Barbuda deserve better, and we could do better. But it's just about selfishness, and people are just concentrated on their own personal needs and not thinking about Antigua and Barbuda as a whole.
Veer, just hold the line for me. I do have to take another break, but I want to think about this while we're on break. The people who are supportive of the Global Ports arrangement, what they're saying too is that the opposition is just opposing. They're not presenting any alternatives for the solution that plagues the cruise terminal port down at the Keys. I want you to think and let me know what your alternative solutions would be when we get back. You're listening to The Morning Cup here on ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1 FM. Anyway, we're listening to the Morning Cup here on ZDK Liberty Radio 97.1 FM, talking with Veer Bird III, the chairman of the True Labour Party here in Antigua and Barbuda. Veer, I was asking you about alternatives. So if not global ports, then what?
Well, that is the thing. I mean, this government poses like if it's not global port, then the world is going to come to an end. The sky is going to fall in on Antigua and Barbuda. There are options, but they're painful options because this government does not have a good credibility on the international stage where finance is concerned. I believe that if we have a tourism product, and yes, it does need some upgrade and renovation. That is it all the time in every country you think. I was in Bahamas 2000 for my, record again, when your conversion for the 6 months as a lawyer. And you could see some parts of it were disheveled, some parts it needed upgrade. It's all over the Caribbean. It's highly used product. There are thousands of people coming in every year. There's wear and tear on the infrastructure. That should be in place, that we always are fixing it so it doesn't cost us a whole pile of money. At the end of the day, when you want to just fix it up every 10 years or so, it should be a constant process of maintaining and improvement. Saying that, I personally believe, and I'm not speaking for the other bodies in this coalition.
Sure.
Personally, where I stand, I believe they should attempt to get a loan. I know they don't have a good name, but I do remember the Prime Minister was beating his chest like King Kong before the election last year, the 21st of March, saying that they just paid off IMF. If you have relieved yourself of that burden and come out of that debt, why can't you go and entertain another loan, since this is your chief product of your economy? Right? Failing that, you're not able to get a loan, which is very possible because they don't have a good name with the way they deal with their finances. Right? I believe that this government should try to enter a partnership similar to what they have in the Bahamas, where it's a partnership, not just you take that and you manage that for 4 years. They should have a partnership and a more equal distribution of the risk and the profits for the Antigua and Barbuda people. That is what I would like to see at the end of the day, those two options, the first one preferentially, but very different in reality because the people that we have running this country are up to no good.
All right. So with regard to, let's take me back to the whistle stop yesterday. Talk about it. How was it? And did you get out? Did you press flesh? How was the reaction on the whistle stop itself?
Well, the whistle stop to me, it was very well. I think it was larger than a whistle stop. I was expecting about 50, 60 cars. There were well over 200 cars. I tried to walk the length and breadth of it when we stopped on Bay Street in Villa. And I got tired. I couldn't really go the length of the cars that were parked.
Yeah.
You know? But it's definitely over 200. I'm not going to say what the exact figures. I don't know. I didn't count all the cars. I couldn't count all the cars. But that was really just to let people know that as an opposition, we have come together and we are going to be effective, and we will continue to picket, to protest, to have our whistle stops, to have our public rallies until this government falls.
And the reaction by the different folks in the different villages that you would have visited?
I believe that people weren't certain what we were, and that is part of what we have to get to, because they saw different shirts, different flags, but overall they knew something was up, so they're a little hesitant because they didn't realize it was a faithful national. Usually it's a UBB whistle stop or it's something else, but yeah, it's a little different at first, but I believe they will gradually catch on. It's the first one we've had, so that is the only part. I believe there was some hesitancy. They were Party people on the whistle stop also.
Is that so?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, you would
So
know.
that,
You know
that
them.
is
You
what
know.
we are trying to bring out everybody who lives in Antigua and Barbuda and feels that we've got slighted by this government. I mean, the whole idea of Max Fernandez being a tough negotiator, the first casualty when you deal with the Antigua Labour Party is the truth. What part of Max Fernandez is a tough negotiator? Wait, are you guys serious? They couldn't find anybody better to go and negotiate such a serious deal that impact the lives of all Antiguans and Barbudans. I am a lawyer. I don't really pay attention to the tourism product, except when I go to the beach, But it's something that I inherit, like 50% of my business from my father. He dealt with a lot of poor people and so on, and the matters as a lawyer and a politician helping the common man. 50% of my business is based on poor people working in the tourism industry and able to afford a lawyer to probate a will or to transfer a piece of land. If they don't have any money because this global poor deal come through and the tourist cruise lines don't come here, Charles, I may have to pack up and leave. So maybe that's the plan to get True Labour out of the coalition.
Right.
That is the reality. I don't know what kind of negotiating team they put for them, but back up with that lightweight stuff. Seriously, get some serious people in there that can handle the matter.
With regard to True Labour itself, what is the current state of your party?
Current state of the party, we have in our executive meeting, we introduced a new member, potentially a new candidate, but I just don't even like to talk about that. We like to have members first, see that they feel comfortable in the organization. They don't want you to join and then you feel uncomfortable and you leave. So we're introducing 1 or 2 new guys today. And right now, as I've always said, we're building on that parcel and behind you on Rose Street. We're building our community center, law chambers, business space rent. It's been slowed down because of several things. I lost my passport last year from May to August in New York, and that slowed us down after the election. Then we had the snap election, which messed things up, and that has been what we have really been focused on this year to get that building built.
Right.
That is where we have our hands full. Even before the election, that was our emphasis, and then everything just came that threw us off our crease. But we are committed to it. Everything is moving forward, as we said. It's just taking a little longer than we expected because of circumstances, but we're not backing off.
What's current membership? And you spoke to trying to increase membership just a while ago.
No, those guys called us. They called us. We are not actually seeking any membership at this point in time. We have difficulty, as I said. We don't have a permanent place to meet. We cannot house more than 20, 30 people at a time. It is a difficulty for a small organization to actually have a meeting place to entertain people. And if we can't do that, we'll hold on until we get our proper premises built. So in regards to membership, I don't know. I guess it's stuck at where we were the last time I checked or something, but it's really Dayton Samuel, who is the treasurer. He will be able to really tell you who is a member, who is paid up, who hasn't paid, or whatever their status is. I know we did lose members with Kimberly Grant and Dalso and Vaughn Connor, but that wasn't such a bad thing. That's all right. We move on. Life goes on.
And what about the DNA? Now, as well, you just mentioned that a lot of those members would have gone over either to the DNA or the United Progressive Party.
Correct. Yes.
With regards to the DNA and them not necessarily throwing themselves. Well, I haven't seen them throw themselves behind the Faithful Nationals effort. What is your thought on that?
Well, everybody. That's up to them, They make their choice, whatever they want to do or whatever their path to liberate the country. I have no problems with that. But as far as the True Labour Party is concerned, we have been speaking with the UBP since late 2014. It wasn't a matter of us just getting on board to form a coalition to get rid of the government so that we get into office and chaos reigns after that. We agreed that it will be a natural process for us to work together. We feel comfortable with one another. Nobody is stabbing anybody in the back, and we have done so, and we have moved forward in that vein because we believe that you have to put things aside for the betterment of our country, and that is where we have been for the last 4.5 years. Whatever DNA is doing, I know they have invited because I am actually the secretary of the steering committee for the Faithful National. nationals. And I know that we have had correspondence inviting them to our meetings. And it's an open invitation, actually. But up to last week or week before last, I did write a letter inviting them to our meetings. The plan, we are having a meeting today for the Faithful Nationals, so I'll find out. I don't think I heard of any response to our letter, but I'll find out definitely if there was any mention, whether it's a letter or a telephone call. But at this point in time, I don't believe they are on board.
They're on board. Okay. All right. And lastly to you, the next step, you did make mention of it earlier. The next step is you have more protest actions coming up, yeah?
Yes. This Thursday, we are going to be picketing outside the Parliament building on Queen Elizabeth Highway, because I think that's when they say the Parliament is convenient to sign off on this bit of nonsense, this betrayal of the Antiguan and Barbudan people with signing over our port to go, what they call it, GBH, or whatever that is. And then in the evening, 7:30, we're going to commence our public rally. I believe that's going to be done by the old Parliament building again. It was a very successful venue on the last occasion, so I believe we're going to stick with it. But the Faithful Nationals, overall, it's concerned citizen. Nobody, if you want to come and join with us, come and join with us, because it's not about ALP, UPP, True Labour, DNA, BPM, whoever it is or whatever it is else out there. Is about Antigua and Barbuda. That's why we usually have the flags, or people are wearing the shirts, the flags. Come along. And I mean, what they are offering the people of Antigua and Barbuda is 40 years or thereabouts of us not being able to chart our own way forward. So why did we even go for associated statehood and independence if your main economic product, you are not going to be managed for 40 years? If that is the case, I would suggest to Gaston Brown and the rest of his cabinet, you need to make a call. Before you make a call to Global Ports, go and call the Queen or the Prime Minister of England and tell them you want to become a dependency or colony, because you can't run your own port. That is what I suggest. After 37 years of independence and near 50 years of associated states running your own internal affairs, you're telling the people of Antigua and Barbuda, after you said Antigua is going to be an economic powerhouse, that we have the highest growing economy from Canada to Chile in the south, you're going to tell me now you don't have no money. Something is wrong. They are lying to the people of Antigua and Barbuda. If the situation is so bad and you were put in there for over 5 years now to alleviate the situation, and you were saying you're broke or even more broke than when you went in there, call the Queen. Do me the favor, the grandson of Vere Cornwall Bird Sr., his namesake, do me the favor. Call the Queen of England or Prime Minister, what's her name? Theresa May. And tell her we've made a mistake because we don't know how to manage our own internal affairs. That is what I suggest to Gaston Brown and the Antigua Labour Party. You have made a mess of Antigua and Barbuda.
All right. Thank you so much, Veer.
Anytime, man. So nice that the ban is lifted. Hi, Antigua and Barbuda. I'm back on ZDK. 6-year ban has been lifted. I have been redeemed. Anyway, take care, right?
Take care, boss. All right. We'll take the break.